Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for liking my videos and subscribing to my channel. Here I am in the Edgewood Bungalows. This is a neighborhood that is very near Lake Sumter Landing. And this is a community of upscale bungalow homes, and they're very similar to Courtyard Villa homes. Located here near Lake Sumter Landing. And this is a walk and talk. I wanted to talk about who maintains these roads. Here I am on the corner of Blue Heron Avenue and Edgewater Lane. And right there you do see the hotel. That is the Waterfront Inn Hotel here in Lake Sumter Landing. I did a video yesterday, a couple of days ago, about the new neighborhoods and the new neighborhood designs in the southern part of the villages, especially in District 15, including the villages of Water's Edge, Well Point, Moultrie Creek, Shady Brook. And I talked about how I think that the Villages is coming up with a new community design concept where more of their communities are going to be designed like the Courtyard Villa communities here in the north, the communities in the south. There are more and more communities in the south where they have the stormwater sewers in the middle of their streets. And they're going to, in my opinion, I think they're going to design fewer communities like the designer home communities in the north, where you actually have curb and gutters on the sides of the street. And I explained the reason that I think it's just a more cost-effective and efficient way to build communities. You can see that this community actually has a concrete border along the edge of the streets. And if you noticed, in the southern communities, they don't have that concrete border. And I believe they have the concrete border in this community because it is an upscale community. Most of your courtyard and patio villa neighborhoods do not have that concrete border. That actually helps keep the street intact. You probably have lower maintenance on these streets. I know in the courtyard and patio villa neighborhoods here in the north, as these trees grow, the root system tends to grow into the street and it tends to crack the edges of the street. That concrete border will help prevent that. And I noticed in the south they don't have the concrete border on their streets. So the point of this video is to talk about who maintains these roads. And it's a very unique relationship that the Villages has with the counties. For instance, Lake Sumter is in Sumter County, and the Villages has an agreement with Sumter County that the Villages will maintain these streets in the Courtyard Villa neighborhoods and the Patio Villa neighborhoods. So really any neighborhood with the stormwater system in the middle of the street, the Villages maintains. And when I say the Villages, I mean the Villages residents will maintain these streets. And the streets are maintained through the maintenance assessment fees that you pay annually on your property tax bill. Look at this. That's an awesome water feature. And the streets in the designer home neighborhoods are maintained by the county. And that's a big difference. And I think In the southern villages in District 15, because more of the neighborhoods are being built like these courtyard and patio villa neighborhoods in the north, I think those streets are going to be maintained by the villages, essentially by the residents. So for those new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tim. I do villages related content. The Villages is a 55 plus community in Central Florida. So these neighborhoods, these courtyard villa and patio villa neighborhoods, these streets are maintained by the villages. Essentially, the residents will pay to have these streets maintained through their maintenance assessment agreements, assessment fees. And there is regular routine maintenance done on these roads. Every 5 years, these roads will get a rejuvenation. They call it rejuvenation. That's where they essentially put a layer of, I think, tar and stone on top of these streets. And that is paid for through your maintenance assessment fees. They hire a contractor. Every 5 years, these neighborhoods will have a rejuvenation done on these roads. And those are the times of the year that you have to wash a lot of tar off the side of your cars. In addition, every 15 years, the villages will do a mill and overlay process where they actually mill off the top 2 inches of the surface of these roads, and they will put down new asphalt over the top of it. And they do that every 15 years. And they have a contractor doing that, and that gets paid out of the maintenance assessment fees. So how this relates to the communities in the south is, because there's more communities, I think a higher concentration of communities in the south that will have roads maintained by essentially the residents. That's one of the reasons why I think in the southern part of the villages, those maintenance assessment fees are going to be higher. It's because there's more communities where the roads are going to be maintained by essentially the residents through their maintenance assessment fees. And there are going to be fewer roads in the south maintained by the county, and that obviously gets paid through the county property tax. This is Buena Vista Boulevard right here. Somebody's taking a leisurely walk. So I think that's another reason why those communities in the south are going to be designed like the courtyard villa and patio villa neighborhoods of the north. I think it's a more efficient way. Also, it's another way they can pass some of the costs on to the residents. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that assessment. I think they're changing their neighborhood design model. They're changing, and along with that, they're changing who pays for the maintenance of the roads and how they pay for them. In the villages, property management department, they have schedules of all of these neighborhoods as to when these roads need to have their regular maintenance done on them. Every 5 years, they get rejuvenated. Every 15 years, they get mill and overlay. So let me know in the comments below what you think of that. And I think over time, the maintenance assessment fees in the southern part of the villages, District 15, are going to be higher than in the north, because I think in the north they're going to have more roads maintained by the county. And I think in the south they're going to have more of these roads maintained by the maintenance assessment fees and the residents. And I know a couple of years ago there were residents complaining about the golf cart paths in the south, the multimodal paths. In the north, the multimodal paths have a concrete border on both sides that protects the edges. So there's a little bit less maintenance on the multimodal paths here in the north. In the south, they stopped putting these concrete edges on both sides of the multimodal path. And the edges, the asphalt edges, will tend to deteriorate faster in the south. And some residents were complaining about that. It's going to take more maintenance to the golf cart paths in the south, which is another reason I think the maintenance assessment fees in the south are going to be higher as time goes by, because the multimodal path maintenance comes out of the maintenance assessment fee budgets. This is a beautiful neighborhood. These homes rarely go up for sale, and when they do, they sell really fast. And I think these homes are 700,000 plus. You can see the Waterfront Inn Hotel. I did check the water levels of Lake Sumter. They're still higher than normal, but they have come down a little bit. The boardwalk is still closed. You cannot walk on the boardwalk. I have a feeling that's going to be closed until they replace the boardwalk. And I do have a video from a month or so ago explaining what they're going to do to the boardwalk. They're going to spend, I think, over $3 million upgrading and replacing the boardwalk in Lake Sumter. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. What are you waiting for? It's still a beautiful community to live in. I just wanted to give you a heads up and my thoughts and my opinions as to why some of those neighborhoods are being designed the way they are in the south. Not only is it more fast and efficient to develop for the developer, but it's also a way to shift the cost burden from the county over to the villages and the residents of the villages through maintenance assessment fees. Oh, here's a house that's for rent. I wonder what the rent on a house like this goes for. What are you waiting for? There's a home for rent right here next to Lake Sumter Landing. You probably could walk to Lake Sumter from here. That's a beautiful home, 2-car garage, block and stucco. Block and stucco home. I hope everybody had a safe Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful and happy New Year. I started the video looking at a storm drain, and I'm going to end it looking at one. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.